Hey guys, and welcome back to Beauty and Grace Podcast. On today's episode, we will be walking through a feeling a lot of us experience daily, a feeling that can be crippling and frustrating, and that feeling is called anxiety. Mental health is a big topic that is being brought to our attention more and more daily, and especially in this generation and day of age. So many of us battle with the everyday fight with anxiety. And did you know that studies show approximately 6.8 million adults in the U.S. are diagnosed or have anxiety, and over 50% of that 6.8 million are ages 18 to 24. And by the day, those ages go younger into children. As we dive into today's episode, I want you to know that you are not alone. The Lord has you in the palm of His hands. I have personally battled with anxiety for a long time, and I had no clue what to do with it until I came to find my relationship with Christ, and He showed me I'm not a slave to anxiety anymore. I am a child of God, and so are you. So let's get into today's episode. Thanks, guys. Hey guys, and welcome back to Beauty and Grace Podcast. I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. And today's topic, we're going to be talking about anxiety and ways that we can deal with anxiety with the Lord, and practical ways that we can implement in our daily habits to fight anxious moments, anxious circumstances, anxious times. I want to just bring more awareness to mental health, because I feel like in this generation that definitely is something that a lot of us do struggle with, whether it's from anxiety, depression, or thoughts. I just want you guys to know that you are not alone. We are all here with you. This community is for you guys to talk about. And if you guys ever have any questions or comments or just needing advice, you guys can DM me on Instagram at Beauty and Grace Podcast. And I'd love to touch with you guys and talk more and be able to advise you in ways if I possibly can. Now, first thing I want to talk about is that I've dealt with anxiety personally in my life. So when anxiety first crept into my life, I would have to say it was probably age 11, near the age of when my dad passed away. If you guys don't know that backstory, it is in my testimony podcast, which you guys can go see. It's my very first one, but I think it definitely crept in when my dad had passed away, and I was just still at a young age, but slowly after that, and going into middle school and high school, and we just start picking up the pace of the world, and one, around other teenagers, preteens, and then two, we also have social media, which is a factor that I think can tie into our anxiety a lot more for this generation now. But it definitely started creeping in around those times, middle school, high school times. And I think when anxiety really took over in my life for a moment in time and had more control over me than I had over it, would have to be my sophomore year. My sophomore year is when I really started getting connected into students at my church and finding other teenagers and younger kids / adults that were around my age to be able to make friends with, be able to learn more about God and learn more about what the Lord had for us in that season of our younger ages. I was very introverted at the time. I had always had a high anxiety. If someone new tried to talk to me, there's no way you were going to catch me speaking. I was just that nervous. Like I would introduce myself, but at that point I'd be like, "Hi, I'm Mariah. Nice to meet you." Slowly back up, not be in the conversation anymore. Or it's just hard for me to make friends even at that time. Like how I said in one of my other episodes that I just recently posted about how it's hard making friends at adult age. It's hard for me at a younger age to make friends as well. And not saying it was because, there's something wrong. It's just hard to step out of my comfort zone and be able to connect with someone. So my anxiety crept in definitely during that point, my sophomore year in high school, and I was just so anxious to be around everybody. And then this is where I slowly but surely learned that I am a type 6 on the Enneagram test, if y'all have not taken that. I'm a type 6, I'm an overthinker, I'm a loyalist, I'm very loyal, committed, and not necessarily controlling, but I just like to know what's going to happen next, because due to some things that have happened in my past, or because of my dad's passing, I've just always been scared of the future and not knowing what's going to happen, not being able to have control or be able to at least prepare my feelings before it happens so I'm not a hot mess. So it really crept in then, and sophomore year, getting into students, all of that. I had one occasion at school happen that I'm not going to go too much into depth with because it wasn't that big of a deal, but it was somewhat of, I can't really pinpoint what kind of trigger it was, but I got triggered. I had this whole blowout moment, had a panic attack. I didn't even know what a panic attack honestly was then. I went to the bathroom for all of lunch, which was an hour. I got in the bathroom and cried my eyeballs out. Like, I had no idea what's happening, had no idea why I had anxiety. Like, I legit can't even tell you guys what the problem was, because that's what happens sometimes. Anxiety pops up out of nowhere. And it's like, really? Really, guy? Like, did you have to pop up right now in this moment? Or even like, presentations. I hated giving presentations, public speaking. I can do that stuff now, but completely different story then. I've always been an overthinker. I'm always needing to know what the next thing is or have some kind of control or be able to prepare myself. And with anxiety, I have a verse that I would love to give to you guys today. And that's going to be 1 Peter 5:7. And I feel like it's a verse that we all know. I feel like it was one of my first starter memory verses on anxiety, a piece of scripture that I could truly read back to myself and cast onto myself and know that the Lord has me and is shielding me. Verses 1 Peter 5:7, cast all of your anxieties unto him because he cares for you. Keeping in that daily reminder that the Lord cares for you, he's with you, and he has so much love for you, so much more love than the lilies and flowers. And I promise you, he is going to find you. You are going to surrender this to him, and he's going to carry that burden and the anxious feeling for you. With my anxiety, I will say a practical piece of advice I'd like to give that really helped and works for me to calm my anxiety and calm those panic attacks and those moments of arising and just frustration of feeling is starting to rise is reading scripture. And honestly, I've noticed, and I'm sure you guys will notice too if you implement this into your daily lives, is when you're reading the Lord's word more daily, and when you're truly reading it daily, meditating it and praying, first of all, your quiet times don't have to look the same. Yes, is it good getting in the word? Absolutely. But do you have to do it every single day? Because there are days where I'm just not feeling like it. You can read a book or listen to worship music, something to tune into God and just really be with him for an hour or 30 minutes at least. It really changes the direction of our day. It really sets the day off at a high note. When I wake up, I don't know if anybody else feels this way personally, but I have some days where I wake up and my heart is racing. My anxiety is on an all-time high, and I'm literally just waking up. My eyes are just opening, and it's happening for no reason. And that's what I found I need to go do is wake up, go take a shower if I need to, make a cup of coffee, or just wake up, maybe sit there for a second, because I am the kind of sleeper that just needs to sit there before I even talk, speak, rise. But right after that, go read the word or just go meditate in God's presence, because I'm telling you right now, it is a game changer. It is one of your first steps that you need to do besides surrendering the anxiety and all the anxious thoughts that you have to the Lord. You need to be in his presence, be in his word, because I promise you will see the difference. You will see the difference it has on your anxiety, triggers, and day. The enemy will do anything to creep in anxiety, and as Christ followers, I think that's a good reminder for us. We need to fight back. This is a good reminder. Fight back, guys. I feel like anxiety can be so crippling for quite a few people, to where you just want to hide or curl up and just sit in your bed all day. But I'm telling you right now, from experience, I've been there, done that. Get up and go. The Lord has made a new day for you to start new, start afresh, and tackle the day differently. Try different ways to help fight that anxiety. So whether it's, like I said, worship music, or hey, maybe you have a hobby to distract yourself from that one thought that's going to eventually snowball into more anxiety and into a higher intensity level. Do something to take your mind off of it. Come back to it and rest in it with the Lord and give it to him. Do not harp and focus too much on one thing, because it will bring you down. And I don't want that to happen. A helpful tip I will say, I think I already kind of mentioned it, but I gave you guys that verse, 1 Peter 5:7. Use that if you guys would like to and run with it. But there are so many verses out there that can help you with anxiety. I had a friend tell me that when you do have anxious moments, reading scripture back to yourself and reading truth, and because God's word is truth, and reading what he says over your identity and over anxiety, it will fight back and help minimize and diminish it into something so smaller. So there's a nice piece of advice that you guys could probably use that I wish I had learned sooner, that has helped me a lot as an adult now. With that being said, anxiety creeping in 101. Moments of when anxiety just pop up out of nowhere and for no reason. So frustrating. I get it. It is so annoying. You're like, what just triggered me to have this thought? Where did this come from? And it's the enemy, it's lies, or it's genuinely just our human bodies, like brain chemistry wise. That's just sometimes how things work. And I know that it can feel heavy, but I also know, guys, this is a beautiful part of your story. And I had been watching, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but the show The Chosen. I've watched a few episodes, but if I can put that clip into here, I will. I saved a screen recording of Jesus talking to, I think it was Peter. Don't hold me on that, but I will insert the clip here if I can. If not, this is the gist of it. Jesus is talking to one of his disciples, and his disciple can't necessarily do things physically, like isn't a big, strong, physically, I'm capable of picking up pounds and pounds of things compared to some of the other disciples. And so the Lord looks to him and is talking to him, and his disciple says, Lord, I don't want to keep walking through this. I don't know how I can bring glory to your kingdom with having this crippling effect. When everybody else, keep in mind, when everybody else seems normal, when everybody else is fine. Now, this is a thought that I feel like a lot of us have. I definitely have this thought daily, is why does everybody else look so normal compared to me? Honestly, guys, it's true. I feel like sometimes I feel like I'm crazy because of my anxiety. Which it's not true. Is not true, but it makes me feel like that sometimes because I don't know where it came from. I don't know what's going on. So what do I do about it? So moments of when we can have anxiety creeping in, I feel like, is how I said, when I'm waking up first thing in the morning and it's happening for no reason. And I'm like, really? Today? Like, enemy, you want to fight today? Let's go. But also just random times during the day where I could be doing fine. I'm doing just like a household chore, doing the dishes. And then out of nowhere, I literally just want to bawl my eyeballs out. And I'm like, So I think one thing we all need to implement into our lives is being able to discern and be able to distinct what just happened and what was that trigger, knowing what your triggers are, and being able to, one, when you see that trigger happen, being able to be like, okay, I'm aware of this. I know what this is. I know that this is going to bring me anxiety. I'm turning away from it. I'm not even thinking about it. Like that, you know what I'm saying? So just being aware of those triggers for you personally and really tuning into them and seeing where they happen, because I promise it'll make a huge change. You may be like, oh, like I'm listening to this song and I get this big panic attack. For what reason? What are the lyrics in that song saying? Music can affect us. So, or what are you listening to? What are you watching? What are you thinking about? That is starting to rile up these feelings. Pray the anxiety away, guys. I was told by one of my leaders, and I completely agree with it at this point. I'm reading a book called Praying Life by Paula E. Miller, and it's a really good book. I suggest it to all of you guys. But being able to pray away the anxiety during those moments, when those anxiety moments do come up, right then and there, I don't care if you're at work, I don't care if you're at the gym, I don't care if you're sitting on the toilet. Just sit there, close your eyes, be like, hey, God, I'm here with you right now. I'm feeling anxious about XYZ. Tell him what's going on. Give it to him and watch how that will change your day. Watch how that will help you 10 times better than when you were just sitting on the toilet and thinking about this situation with little Susie, and now you're all upset and anxious and freaking sad. So next time, pray. Like, I know that prayer is hard. It's something that I'm learning. Praying can feel like it's a chore sometimes. Praying can feel like you're not getting anywhere sometimes. Praying can feel like, yes, you're talking to God, but it feels like you're just talking to a stone wall and you're not seeing anything action happen. But action is taking place. Action is taking place. Breathing exercises. That has been something else that has been brought to my attention that I have been working on and thinking through for the past 2 years now. For when the moments of when I'm crying or I'm having those panic attacks, anxious moments. And whenever I keep bringing up crying, guys, crying is, I feel like, my way of showing my anxiety even more. So if you guys ever catch me on just like an ugly crier day, I'm so sorry. I am a very, very ugly crier. But breathing exercises. Yes, breathing exercises. Breathing during the moments of when sometimes I've had a panic attack, and I had a panic attack maybe the week before Christmas about my dad. And my husband, I was literally in the bed for 3 hours crying, hyperventilating, and he had to just hold me. I needed somebody to hold me, and he walked me through breathing exercises. You need to control and focus on your breathing. Make sure you're breathing. Breathing helps you pause. Breathing helps you rest. Breathing helps you control. I want everybody that is listening to this episode right now to know that you are not alone in anxiety. I know that anxiety can feel lonely. Anxiety can feel like you are by yourself. You are not. You have community. You have people who love you. And if you just need to shoot me DM or send me an email, I would love to be able to talk to you guys. Set up a time where we could maybe find a Zoom call time where we could all meet up as community, and just know that you're not alone. You're not the only one going through it. It may feel like it. I know it feels like it, but you're not. I'm here. God's here. He's got you. God's got you. I've got you. My personal experience with anxiety and how it can be lonely and isolating. For me personally, I was at students, back to high school times. I just stopped going. I have always been that person. Don't know why. Don't know when it happened. Don't know why it's even a thing. I don't do it as much now, and I try to be very much more aware so I can step out of my comfort zone and step out and be more like Jesus in ways. But I would isolate myself and be like, I'm not going to this function and event. I don't want to talk to this friend because even though, yes, they may be saying the thing that I need to hear right now, I'm not listening to it. I will say I've noticed that you guys and me, we're isolating ourselves from stuff that we actually need and things that we actually need during that point in time. There have been times in my life where I was like, I'm not going to church. Like, I don't feel like going to church. I don't want to even hear it right now. And I promise you guys, and I even, to this day, I'm so sad and regret not going to church at those times when I'm like, I'm not going, because those were the times that I needed it the most. It's like you miss church, or you miss group, or you miss this function event with somebody or a friend for, let's say, like 4 weeks. But then you go back that following week after those 4 weeks, and it's like, whoa, gates of heaven are opening. You're hearing everything. The Lord is speaking to you. You're hearing everything that he needed you to hear. You are on a spiritual high now. You're ready. You're motivated. I want us to keep that motivation going, guys, every day, all year. That's what we all need to remind ourselves when it comes to anxiety and feeling lonely that every day, I know that it's hard, but every day, I wish that I would have done this the days that I didn't. Pick yourself up out of your bed, go to Jesus, run to God, pray, cry your eyes out on the floor if you need to, get dressed and take yourself out into that world. The world needs you. The world needs to see you. The world needs to hear you, hear your ideas, creativity. We are waiting for it. And it's such a beautiful thing. And anxiety, I'm telling you, is the stealer of joy for a lot of people. And I don't want that to be a thing for you. I want you guys to know that you can have a prosperous life, a beautiful life, a happy and healthy life if you do that simple thing. Get up out of your bed, run to the Lord, and go out in the world and find that motivation and discipline to keep going. Find that hobby. Set your eyes on that dream, that God-sized dream. Give it to God and run with it. He's going to take you glorious places. Rest in his grace and in his hope because he's got you. Anxiety, it makes you feel alone. I've been in bed days and hours of you're just sitting there. Honestly, I'm just waiting the next day. Like, come on, God, I'm ready for the next day. I'm tired of being anxious today. But then that next day, we're anxious again. The Lord tells us not to be anxious about tomorrow. So first of all, let's just not even hop into thinking about the next day. Focus on right now. Where are you right now? And what are the things that you can do right now to make your life joyful? And the only way for our life to be joyful is from the Lord and from finding disciplines in him, in the word, in daily life, and running with it. The world doesn't stop, so we cannot stop, guys. Anxiety can push us to a place that honestly is scary. Anxiety can push us to a place to where we might not have anybody. And with this episode, I want you guys to be further. I don't want anybody to even have to feel like they're at that point, come to that point of not having people. You have people, you have resources. Do not let anxiety have the last word. This is something that I want to work on is don't even say the word anxiety. Don't let it be a part of your identity because it's not a part of your identity. It's not something that the Lord is like, oh yeah, anxiety. That's you. No, the Lord says that you are beautiful. You are a treasure. You are smart. You are kind. You are wisdom. You are his child. So let's take anxiety off of our name tag and start afresh. With anxiety, I feel like also this is not talked about enough, but the feeling of how lonely it is because it feels like no one else is going through it. Guys, plenty of people are going through it. I know we may not be able to see it. I know you may not be able to see that I'm going through anxiety right now or feeling it at times, but we are different sizes, different shapes, different forms, and different extents. Not everybody's walk in life is the same whatsoever. And that's the beauty of all of our testimonies because we are going to be able to share that with someone else and you're going to be able to share that with someone else. And maybe they are going through the same thing or maybe they're not, or maybe they have a friend that's going through that and they can give some wisdom of what they need to do and some wisdom of God to those people. And then that person will turn to the Lord and run to the Lord for guidance and help. Social media, I feel like, can be a big factor to this. Me personally is a big factor to anxiety. First thing I pick up sometimes is my phone, and that's something we're working on this year as well, guys. Not picking up our phones as soon as we wake up. We need to ease into the day. Our minds were not created to look at the screen as soon as and connect with thousands of people first thing in the freaking morning. I don't like that. That's just nuts. If you guys are not like me and you just don't like talking to people in the morning, I just don't understand how people can talk or want to scroll so much stuff in the morning. Like, dude, are your eyes not hurt? Like, are your eyeballs not hurting? Like, no. Moral of the story, social media, I feel like, has affected everybody's anxiety in certain ways. For me, it can be comparison, jealousy. You're looking at, oh, these people have these things, or, oh, this person's walk with the Lord looks like this, or, oh, this person has this bag that I want, or this person has more following than I do. And guys, stop it. Stop it. you're putting yourself down a rabbit hole. And we don't want a rabbit hole. You don't want to go down a rabbit hole. It's not going to do you any good. It's not going to benefit you. It's not going to make you happy. So why are we doing it? Social media has brought so much stink into our lives, I feel like, but so much good because look, we're here together right now, guys, but so much stink when it comes to anxiety and the pressures that I feel like it has put onto our lives, the unrealistic expectations, because not everybody's life is going to look the same whatsoever. Not everybody has thousands of followers, and not everybody's life looks so perfect on the screen that you're seeing it. So if you are one of those people whose anxiety is being stirred up from social media and comparison and jealousy, I'm telling you right now, their lives may look perfect on screen, but their lives are not perfect. We're all human. We're all going through chaotic days. We're all going through hurry, all going through hurt. We're all going through pain. We're all going through trials and happy times, but it's not happy all the time. All right, guys, another thing I want to talk about is do not look at anxiety as a bad thing. This is something I wish someone would have told my younger self, and this is me telling my younger self that, and all of you beautiful gals. Do not look at it as a bad thing, like how I was saying with isolating, and then you're comparing it to other people and being like, oh, they don't have anxiety, but I have this awful anxiety. Do not look at it like that. Because one, you, like I said, you don't know what someone else is going through. Two, we don't know what their lives are looking like behind a screen, and not everything is honky-dory all the time. Anxiety is not always a bad thing. Back to what I was talking about that episode from The Chosen, and Jesus talking to one of his disciples, and his disciples was questioning, like, God, like, I don't know if I'm the man for the job. Like, do I have purpose? God, how am I supposed to keep going on when I have this crippling thing about me, which is anxiety? And Jesus told his disciple that even though, and hey, this is a sidebar note. Hey, I feel like we have prayers where we're asking God, oh my gosh, take it away, take it away. And we hear stories of people having God taking that anxiety away. I don't want anybody to, let's not think unrealistic. Yes, God is a God of anything. God can do it. He can take it away out of nowhere. He can get rid of it for the rest of your life. Or there are the some where yes, it may be less heightened, but he still allows you to go through with anxiety, because back to the story of The Chosen. In The Chosen, he was saying, with this crippling thing that you feel like is a curse to you, with this thing that you feel like is so bad to you, is actually in God's eyes a gift, and God glorifying, and God in a God-sized thing. My anxiety and how I've dealt with it, and your anxiety and how you've dealt with it and may have walked through it, could touch someone else's life, could touch somebody else, and could point them right back to how you were pointed right back to God, how everything leads up to him still, and he is going to lead them out of it. Just knowing that anxiety is not always bad, that it is a blessing to my testimony. It's a blessing to my testimony in that, yes, was it a struggle? But yes, like God says, things are struggles, but the endurance that we build will build our faith, strength, character, and bear fruit in our lives. So I don't want anybody to forget that. I don't want you to see this as, oh, I'm not normal. You are normal. Everybody is dealing with anxiety somehow. You are normal. You are beautiful, and you are going to get through this, and the Lord's got you guys. Another thing that I do want to click on real quick before the end of the episode is the Lord will use this as a part of your testimony ultimately, and it will glorify him so much more than you can imagine. This life is not about us. This walk is not about us ultimately. Ultimately, my life and my purpose is about the Lord and Jesus and who he is and what he's done for us. And I just want everybody to know that today. I want you guys to know that this is a part of your testimony, that you are going to be strengthened. Your character is going to be built from this. And it is going to be so awesome to look back a year from now or a year from wherever you're having that anxious moment and being like, wow, God really did something. God was really moving, and just pinpointing all those times that God touched your life. Yes, this anxiety sucks. Yes, it sucks. But anxiety is not your identity. Anxiety is not who you are. And anxiety has no claim over you whatsoever. You can keep living on your life joyfully and fruitfully in the Lord and fighting the enemy and anxiety daily with the Lord. So I hope this episode helps you guys a little bit with anxiety and just little hints of how you can handle it, get through it with the Lord, and just knowing that anxiety is normal, knowing it's okay to have anxiety, but also just knowing that you can get through it and that you can minimize it and that it will not have as much control over you if you follow these healthy and practical habits, tips, and ways. I love you guys so much. I just want you guys to know from the bottom of my heart that everyone is going through something as well. The Lord loves you. The Lord is here with you. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. I hope that it was a little bit of tidbits that can help with practical habits and my ways that I get through anxiety and ways that you can get through anxiety, and just knowing that anxiety is not you. Anxiety is not the ending. The Lord is. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you next time on Beauty and Grace Podcast. Bye, guys. Thank you for tuning in to Beauty and Grace Podcast, hosted by Mariah Gillespie. Available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Subscribe, like, comment, and share, and follow us on Instagram. Bye, guys.